Welcome back, Seahawks fans. My name is Josh. This is Mitch, and this is the 12 Talk podcast. Coming at you after a commanding performance, shall we say, yesterday. Yeah, but no? Okay. Well, we have got a... Sorry, I'm a dad. The dad jokes come in early. So we have got our review pod of that Seahawks win against the Commanders, and what a win it was, 38-14. We have got a very special guest, someone who's never appeared on the pod before. And as I say, we are collecting Seahawks fan nationalities like Infinity Stones. And this is just a new one. I'll give you a full intro to him very, very soon. But we have got, as always, our highlights. We're going to be talking about winners and losers. We're also going to have some trade deadline talk as well. Mitch has put together some stats, some figures, as he always does, the man with the numbers. And then we're going to get to your questions and your comments at the end. Mitch, before we hit the intro, how are you feeling about this today?
I'm feeling good about the game we're going to talk about because I think it was an emphatic statement that we made. But I have also had an emphatic nap before coming on tonight. I have to tell you, I just my partner woke me up about 20 minutes ago, and I've rushed and grabbed a Red Bull and splashed water on my face and put my shirt on, and I feel like I've been brought out of hibernation. So yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about it, but I feel like I've just woken up just because I have.
It's typical. Some of us didn't get that, although some of us weren't awake for the watch party. So, I hold my hands up to that. But without further ado, shall we hit the intro and bring in our special guest?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it. Excellent. Before we even bring on our special guest, I've got to give him a full build-up, but I also want to give a shout-out to someone who has been doing some massive things for us as UK NFL fans, and that is 5-Star Imports. If you have not tried them, do so. I have just bought my Rivalries jersey and cap and a baseball, a trucker hat from them, and it's a fantastic service. The link for their Facebook is below. You get 20% off your order from the US. It's a sign-up basis, but it's absolutely brilliant. I will shout them to the hills, and Neil, who runs it, is an absolute star. And as you know, we're advocates of the Robin Cancer Trust. They're currently doing their Big Ballsy Challenge, where you could run or walk 10 or 50 or 100K throughout November to help raise awareness for testicular and ovarian cancer. And we're doing our bit by releasing these t-shirts. 25% of all profits will be donated to the RCT. If you want one of those, hop in our Discord. The king of the Discord is right below me here. And you can join a plethora of Seahawks fans from around the world. Speaking of Gibraltar, Wales, Scotland, Germany, Canada, the US, and our guest tonight, bringing some Mediterranean flavor. That's right. We've got a new guest who's a member of our Discord, and he has been brilliant. Please put your hands together for Nikos. Nikos, welcome, sir.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Can you hear me fine?
We can hear you brilliantly, mate.
So, I'm Nikos. I'm from Greece. I'm probably the only Greek Seahawks fan. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm 20 years old. I've been a Seahawks fan for like 7-8 years straight, diehard fan. I became a Seahawks fan because my stepfather used to live in Seattle, and he went to visit his parents, and he brought me one Seahawks jersey. It was a Russell Wilson jersey back then. And I didn't even know what NFL was at that time. So basically, I just saw a few highlights and fell in love with the sport, with the Seahawks, with everything about the team. Back then, it was the Legion of Boom, 2014, 2015. best time to be a Seahawks fan, and it all just came through.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. And thanks so much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure
My
to
pleasure.
have someone from Greece, like you said, possibly the only Seahawks fan in Greece. But I will
Maybe.
challenge anyone who sees this video to find us another one. And if they do find them, they need to hop in our Discord because, like I said, we welcome all nationalities in there. Anyone who loves the Seahawks, and obviously you found us and you've joined the Discord, and now you're on here. And you've chosen. Well, we chose a great game for you to review as well.
Yeah, probably the best one, not the best, maybe second best game this season. An absolute ball out. We destroyed the Commanders. Although the only negative thing was the Jaden Daniels injury, the elbow injury.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that later. So for anyone who is new, thank you very much for joining us. If you are joining us and you're new, by all means, like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. It really helps us in the algorithm. It helps us reach more 12s. Maybe we can reach the other Seahawks fan in Greece, if there is one. You never know. The more it gets pushed out, the more chance we've got. But what we like to do first is, we like the stats and figures, but we like the emotion that it brings out in these games. So, Nikos, how did you feel sort of like watching this game? Let's not go into, you don't have to give us all the highlights and whatnot, because we'll get to that, but your general feeling at the end of it.
I was not stressed at all. It was a blowout. Second quarter, the game was over. It was a great game. I was very relaxed. I slept for like 1.5 quarters because it was already over from the second quarter. And here the game started at 3:20 a.m. So the difference was a bit hard to keep awake. But it was a great game. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And that's basically what I have to say about the game. There's nothing else to say. That all the team played great. Passing game, receiving, rushing was not that good. I expected to rush more, but we didn't need to at the end of the day. Defense was great. Special teams was great. Everything was great besides the rushing part.
That's been a bone of contention on this pod for a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Mitch, obviously I say we, somebody slept through the primetime game again. Sorry, that was me. Don't look at me. I get enough grief from the Discord members. I can't help it. I have a 5-year-old at home. I'm shattered. But how did you feel after that game?
I really, really enjoyed the game. I think I'm not used to football like this. For anyone who's in our Discord may have seen me make a humorous tongue-in-cheek comment about hanging up my cleats and retiring as a Seahawks fan now because it's become a bit boring. We're winning quite comfortably and we don't have that white knuckle ride anymore on a Sunday of, are we winning this game? Looks like we're losing this game. Somehow in the fourth quarter we've won the game. That doesn't seem to be happening anymore. And I don't recognize football like this anymore. It's just
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like Seahawks football anymore. We're actually getting a real grip on games and putting our boot on the throat of opponents and keeping it there. Before it seemed like we'd have our opponent pancaked and somehow let them get up and get back in the game before limping to the end. So, yeah, I think surprise and shock at how much ease we seem to be maneuvering through these games, I think was my overriding emotion. But there's a level of pride in there as well. I think we've seen the Legion of Boom as Nico mentioned earlier. We've gone from that to something similar and then nothing, and then now we seem to be pulling back towards a real identity that we can recognize as Seahawks fans in terms of our defense. And I feel like we're back to dominating teams with our defenses again. We've done it. There's a sample size now for this new defense is huge. This isn't a 1 or 2 game thing where our defense looks good. We are good.
Yeah, we're a top 5 defense statistically at this point from every category, even passing now, even stopping the run, everything. Sacks, we're a top 5 defense. And we are an actual top 5 defense. It's not just the stats, I think.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think the eye test shows it, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I obviously, as is very nicely pointed out here, I made it for the fourth quarter in the to watch it with everyone score. So I only missed the good bits. Luckily, I managed to catch up with it all today, and I woke up with a smile on my face having watched some highlights, and then I watched the whole game, and that smile just got even bigger. It didn't seem like Mitch said, it's alien to watch Seahawks football
Dominant.
like this.
Yeah.
It's just dominant, and we've called for it for a while now. It's foot to the throat. It's straight from the first whistle. We just go and we don't stop. It's relentless, and it's exactly what Mike MacDonald is preaching to this team. Just relentless, purposeful football all the way through, and it's so nice to see. And like Mitch said, it's so nice not to get to the fourth quarter and be like, oh my god, are we going to win? I don't know what's going to happen. It could be an interception. We could get into the red zone, and it could be nothing. And it's just everything. It's just purpose built, and everything is going so well. I'm excited now to go into our main segments here. And the first one that I always like is our highlights. And these are obviously straight after the game. There's multiple podcasters, there's multiple sort of sports sources out there who will highlight every bit. But as fans, there are bits that really stick in our mind that really made the game for us. Nico, what was yours?
It was the 60-yard touchdown by Cody White. It basically put the game over at this point. He gets the ball, he breaks the tackle, goes in the contact, just avoids the tackle at all. Big man football, strong football, goes directly into the end zone. And for me, that was game over. It basically destroyed the Commanders at this point.
Yeah, I think it was nice to see the catch and the fact he shrugged off that defender.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, was that Lassiter?
Kamara Lassiter, yeah.
Kamara, because he had a torrid time all night. I'm pretty sure he was run past by Horton. Obviously, he was run through by Cody White, and it's just that's a great highlight. And I think Cody White deserves it as well. He's bounced around the practice squad and multiple teams. He just seems to be the guy that everyone was rooting for, and that goes to show what he can do when he gets the ball. We're seeing enough in preseason, but now that's just some great depth. Mitch, what did you think of that one?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I really liked about Cody White scoring that touchdown as well. If you go back to the beginning of the season, do you remember Cody White tweeting out that it was the first time he was able to tell his mum that he made the roster?
Yeah.
He made the 53, you remember? And I remember thinking at the time, that's really cool. And it was such an emotional thing, and I loved it. But I did think at the time, I hope he does something of note this season. Get his first NFL touchdown, get 50, 60 yards in a game. Do something like ice a game get a first down when it really matters. Just do something memorable. Take that opportunity. It's about more than just calling your mum and making the roster. Although that was a really cool moment. He's now got a 62-yard touchdown in a memorable game. So really, really pleased for him. And yeah, it was a great moment in the game.
Yeah, it really was. And like I said, he deserves it. This is what Mike MacDonald preaches, all about the 70, isn't it?
Yeah.
People that can just step up and can do what is asked of them. And he did more than what was asked. He wasn't just there to fill a space in the roster. He actually produced. Mitch, what was your highlight, mate?
My highlight was a play by Sam Darnold that was an utter back-breaking play for the Commanders. So it's the moment where Darnold is getting sacked and he manages to shovel past the ball to Charbonnet. And not only do they not get their sack and end the drive in our own, 30, 35, whatever it was, but Charbonnet then takes it for 20-odd yards as well. It was like oh, we might get a sack. No, you won't. You'll still concede 21 yards. It was an absolute shocker for them. I thought that was kind of a moment that I loved, because in previous seasons we've seen Gino throwing balls out of the sacks, giving up interceptions in our own half, and at key times, like, nope, that doesn't happen right now. When that happens now, it goes right and hurts teams even more. So that felt like a real sort of kick to the groin for the Commanders, when they really could have done without one.
Yeah. Nikos, what did you think of that play?
Just a great play. It shows that we're a team that improves every game. If you think about the chemistry, to throw a ball like this, you have to have a lot of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, plays like that get picked off, and then the game turns around. Teams like the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs have been able to do plays like that in the last few seasons, if you remember. So to me, it shows that we're getting more confident, and we're getting to the point where we are contenders. We're a top 5 team easily, maybe top 3, if you actually think about it. So that's what it means to me.
Yeah, there you go. Jonas Mahomesy play by Sammy D. 100%. Yeah, that's exactly what Nikos just said. It's so long we've not had that type of quarterback play, because let's face it, Gino was up and down. He had his lovers, he had his haters, he had people that sat in the middle, very much like me and Mitch, bit Fence City, where we knew he was good but did bad things. We haven't seen that from Darnold yet. It's so nice. I'm going to go on the defensive side, and I'm going to talk about my boy Ty Okada. But before I go into that, I'm going to rewind it a bit, because that interception was generated by the Witherspoon rush. The Witherspoon blitz is what made Daniels go, oh God, throw it up. And he threw it up, and Ty Okada has got hops. Like when they play basketball in the training facility, he must now be on someone's team in their first 5 pick, because he got up for that. And it was his first professional interception in the NFL. So we saw him in preseason. We've been saying for the last couple of episodes, every time he gets on the field, he manages to do something. And he is a worthy deputy to Julian Love. I think the end of this season, you might be looking at him getting an extension and being a full-time rotational sort of roster member. And he deserves it. Because if we don't pay him, based on the play he's sort of providing at the moment, somebody will. Go on, Nikos. Just so you know, there are a few players on this pod that you can't talk bad about. Ty Okada's one of them. He's my boy. What did you think of Ty Okada's INT?
Great interception. The footwork when he picked the ball off, and his second feet stayed, it bounced exactly when he was going out of bounds. Just a great interception. I don't think that a lot of DBs can make a play like this in the NFL today. It's questionable if wide receivers can actually catch that. And Ty Okada makes this play. Everyone can make plays in this defense. Everyone is great. Everyone plays. I have no one to talk bad about in this defense besides maybe Rick Woolen through the first games.
My guy.
Yeah.
Mitch?
Yeah, one thing I want to say about Okada as well. If you're genuinely going to make a deep postseason run, you need quality depth. And you tend to not get that much high quality depth at every position, because you have to pay these guys, and teams that have consistently got to Super Bowls like the Chiefs, you end up having to pay all of those Super Bowl caliber players extensions, and you have to make tough decisions on who you keep and who you cut. You sometimes need to strike at the right time when the guys are just coming through the roster, so they're not quite being paid the top bucks yet, but they are good enough to compete for a roster spot. That feels like what's happening with Ty Okada. The spot is Julian Love's. You know that a fit Julian Love is playing. But if you go deep in the season and injuries start to happen, there's not much tread left on the tires because everyone's played, 20 games of football. we've got Tyre Carter in the back there. That's a guy we can mix in to take some snaps. That feels like such a good situation for our roster now that he is playing at the NFL level. It's not just playing the preseason games. As you know, this is big boy football, and he looks the part. He's ready.
Yeah, he 100% is. Let's just get to a couple of the highlights that have come into the comments. Danny, highlight, big cat on 4th down, taking Daniels down. Insane effort when the game was done. It's been insane effort from Big Cat all season. I'm going to say it here again. If he is not in Defensive Player of the Year contention, there is something wrong, because he has been outstanding. Jonas, Nick Emanwari manhandling Burks with one arm, tackle him and the ball carrier behind him, one go. It was just filthy. It was. That was just man strength. And it was awareness as well. Brilliant. And then Gary. Always Gary. Highlight, Darnold balling. Fantastic performance. You can't take it away. Which I believe is a fantastic segue into our winners and losers section. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Nikos, is Darnold one of your winners?
Of course he is.
Excellent.
How can he not be?
Yeah.
He starts the first half. I think it was 16 out of 16 passes, if I'm not mistaken. And every pass was completed, 4 touchdown passes, 158, 160 rating, whatever it was. How can you beat that? That's probably one of the best. If you think about it, it's one of the best QB performances in the first half of all time. 4 touchdown passes in one half, no incompletions, feeding JSN, feeding Horton for 2 touchdowns. Just amazing football by Darnold.
It was. Mitch, I know you've probably got some stats to drop on us with that.
I do. And what I did have, here we go. NFL history, 4 quarterbacks have done the following over their first 8 games of the season. Completed 70% of passes, thrown for 2,000 yards, thrown 15 touchdowns, and taken fewer than 10 sacks. That list of 4 quarterbacks is Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Sammy D. That is the level. That is the level of the play we've seen in the first 8 games of the season, and this was his best first half we've seen in those 8 games. So he is playing at that elite level, like top tier elite level, and this was him in what looked like his final form. This was, I mean, I'd like to say it's not, because I don't ever like to think we've seen the best of a player at his age. But if it's not his top level that we saw in this game, I cannot wait to see what the next gear looks like, because I can't imagine a much better performance than what we saw there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the stats I had, it was 17 for 17 for 290 yards and 4 TDs in total before he made an incompletion. His first incomplete pass was his 18th pass of the game. Absolutely absurd. Absurd stats that, and I think that now shows, and this was a comment that was put in our Discord, that Greg Olson said, we're not a running team. We're a power front team with, great passing, which it's winning us games. I'm more than happy with that. And if that's the way we're going to win games, it's fine, because people have still got to account for the run. When you look at K9 managed to break off 1 or 2 big runs. You had Charbonnet doing Charbonnet things as well, running through the middle. So I'm happy with it. If Darnold carries on playing this way, we're on to a winner. Nikos, you had a second winner.
Exactly. It was Torrey Horton, the rookie, 2 touchdowns. Especially, both of them actually were great touchdowns. The first one, beating the defensive back from a great pass, again, by Sam Darnold. And the second one, just wide open, getting his second touchdown, a long one. I don't remember how many yards it was exactly, but it was also a great touchdown. He has 5 touchdowns. I think he's leading the team in receiving touchdowns. He's great. He has been basically our number 2 wide receiver, not Cooper Kupp, as everyone expected. And I think Cooper Kupp has a role in that. He's coaching them. The game,
you saw
like
the sidelines, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying that. He's the whole receiving team is great. Everyone is making plays. Everyone is getting touchdowns. JSN leading the league in receiving yards. If he keeps going like that, he will break the receiving record. Amazing, just great. Again, it goes also to Sam Darnold and the whole team. The Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, MacDonald, the coach. Everyone is playing great, and Torrey Horton deserves to be a winner.
He does 100%. And we just had a comment from Richard. Getting Horton in the 5th round was an absolute steal.
Exactly, yes.
Sometimes injuries don't do a lot for the player, but they do a lot for a team that can draft them late.
Exactly.
And that is a prime example. Mitch, we know Torrey Horton's one of your boys. Do you want to wax lyrical a little bit about him?
Yeah, I love what we're seeing from Horton. I think the production in terms of the actual touchdown receptions is really good, but he can be a chain mover too. We just haven't needed him to be that. It's really interesting to me what we do when Cooper Kupp's on the field and what we do when a rotational wide receiver is added into the mix, because when Kupp's out there, teams expect him to be blocking someone or doing something unselfish. He's not there really to be targeted. He's there doing lots of other things. So when we do target Cooper Kupp, it's almost a surprise to people. Like, there's no point in doubling Cooper Kupp or scheming or putting one of your best DBs on Cooper Kupp, which usually you'd need to do, because he's going to be blocking someone anyway. So why would you do it? And then suddenly when you do target Kupp, you get maximum value out of it. Well, when you put someone else instead of Cooper Kupp, they think, oh, well, they're not going to be doing something underneath that requires a bit of blocking. And sure enough, we do that. And there's this kind of mind game going on with which wide receivers out there. Suddenly you put Cody White out there and hit him for 62, and you put Torrey Horton out there and you punch the ball in for it was 26 yards, Nico. The
second touchdown.
I think it was 26. That's a big old chuck. I mean, you'd call it an intermediate, but that's quite a big throw. So, yeah, I love what we're doing with the wide receivers. I think it's bigger. It's a bigger picture than just Torrey Horton. We're using his skills really, really well, but we're not using all of them. There is more to him than we saw all season, really. I wondered if we'd see more of that in this game. And we saw Torrey Horton as wide receiver 1 in preseason, and he had an absolute baller of a game. And we haven't seen any of those. We haven't seen any of those sort of looks and fits at all since. So brilliant first season for him as a rookie. And I got to tell you, he's not even started. If you saw him for Colorado, he was doing all sorts. He was the main man, and we are not leaning on him anywhere near as much as they did. So, yeah, we're scratching the surface with Torrey Horton.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I have not much more to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dive into the comments. We've had some come through about the wide receivers. So Gianth has come through and said, I'd also much rather have Horton than one of the other diva wide receivers that get into trouble all the time. 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You've had, he's also put in here, Kupp is like having a second QB in your lineup. It's true. He's noted for his film study. Go on.
Careful with that comment, because last week, go back before the bye, he was playing quarterback, and that did not go well. So let's be careful what we wish for.
Yeah. Quarterback in study and not ability. Let's caveat that.
Yeah, we saw that.
Jonas has put JSM probably had the best on-field coaches in Lockett and Kupp you can ask for. I do believe he got better because he played with both of them. I couldn't agree more. And then Chris the Rude has come in and said the threat of JSN is going to make all these receivers stars. We saw our 5th and 6th wide receivers having that unprotected way with an NFL defense last night. 100%. This is it. It's all stemming from the threat of JSN that teams still can't stop, but it's then allowing everyone else to be free, which is making Darnold's life easier. And We'll go on to another reason why his life's been easier. But Mitch, who was your winner?
Yeah, so sometimes the winner in a game does come off the back of something unfortunate. And my winner tonight was a huge winner because of some unfortunate situation, and that was Tyrese Knight. That nobody wanted to see Ernest Jones come out of the game. You saw how distressed he was about it. But Tyrese Knight came into the game it was around halftime. I think the injury was just prior to halftime or just after. So he's essentially had to play approximately 2 halves of football. He totaled 9 tackles. You put him in there at middle linebacker. The bare minimum you want to see out of him is be solid in his technique and his instincts with the depth of tackle and everything. And he was there. He was reliable. He stepped up, much like we said about Tyre Carter. Waiting in the wings to step in when Love's not there and doing a good job. Well, Tyrese Knight made the absolute most of the opportunity and didn't give a single inch to the Commanders. They gained no advantage when EJ went off in that game because of Tyrese Knight stepping up.
Yeah, and it's so nice to see him step up after he's been dropped down the pecking order behind Drake Thomas. And he was the team's top tackler yesterday. I think that's what happens when you have a competitive roster where everyone needs to start balling out to get game time. And he did that yesterday, which means if EJ is out for a game or two, then Knight and Thomas have proved they can be serviceable. What were your opinions on Tyrese Knight? If you had any, Nikos, if not, don't worry, man.
I have nothing to comment. He was I didn't even pay attention. The whole team was very good. Everyone in the defensive side and offensive and special teams, as I said before, was making plays. So I didn't even basically notice that he was making a difference or he was better or worse or anything. To me, it was basically the same, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's the me and Mitch we've sort of preached this. The continuity is what you need with the next man up mentality, like Rich just said. Having someone step into that and you see no difference in play, that's what you want. As a baseline, if that's it, if someone comes in and excels even further, then they kick themselves up the pecking order as well. But I think this is just a great situation to be in. My winner. Winners, plural. Again, it's the O-line. And I feel so weird saying this because we've had so many years of the O-line being an object of hatred. But Sam Darnold did not get sacked once yesterday. And he got pressured. He got QB hit. One QB hit. That is insane. Absolutely insane. And I think this is, I'm going to say it again. I've said it on other pods before. It's a testament. I said it when we were on Good Teams Win Great. And it's a testament to how well this team's playing, how well the O-line's been coached, how well they've been put together. Anthony Bradford, I was watching for him specifically, and there was not a single howler that I could see. He looks stout as well. Hopefully it's been a turning point for him where he's actually figured out what he needs to do. I thought Sundell played well. Again, the left side of that line I thought was fantastic. And a tweet from Brian Nemhauser that I saw earlier, our O-line has the 5th lowest pressure rate through 9 weeks with 27.9%. 5th in the league. Now, years gone by, that would be the 5th worst, if not the worst. Oh, what a change up coaching can make for players and a team. And I love to see it. The big boys need love because everyone talks about the skill positions, but it starts up front. So I'm just going to leave that there.
Out of interest, sorry, I'm going to pick your brains on this, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a new scheme. We've got a new O-line coach, right? We've got new personnel on that O-line. We've got a new quarterback behind them. Is it scheme? Is it coaching? Is it personnel? What is there a single factor in that you think has because we've obviously gone from being a bottom 5 O-line to a top 7 or 8 in most metrics? What is it for you that's been the biggest contributing factor, or do you think it's an amalgamation of all of that that's kind of kicked it on?
It's an amalgamation of all. If I'm to put it in an order, I would say the top of the tree is the coaching, because the majority of these players were with us last year and they couldn't play with the scheme, whatever it was, or they just couldn't play. They weren't coached right. That coaching has taken those players that we had last year and implemented the scheme and techniques and footwork. They've obviously had them in better condition, and it's made them better players, able to play as a cohesive unit, able to play together. There's been hardly any change up on that line apart from the fourth quarter yesterday where we had Oluolu who came in to play some centre. I'm not sure who else changed in, but I think it always...
Bryce Cable-Dew did as well. Trying to think who else came in at guard for Grays. Grays Abel was replaced by Cable-Dew on the left position. I'm not sure if did Bradford stay in, or was he replaced?
I think he did, but if anyone in the comments knows, let us know. But I think it boils down to the coaching. I mean, because there are enough teams in the NFL that change scheme and don't necessarily change personnel, whereas we've kept the personnel, changed scheme, and we've improved due to the coaching. I think players like Cross and Lucas would be good in a power gap scheme or, an outside run scheme, outside zone scheme, just because of the type of players they are. But I think by having the coaching for the interior and coaching the players in the scheme well, it's improved all the players, if that makes sense. Coaching, scheme, players, in my opinion, because you could get someone who isn't the best player, but if you can coach them well to fit into the scheme, they become a good player.
Yeah, and I think that the multiplying factor there as well, I think from the depth standpoint, is that we've drafted and picked up these offensive linemen, and we've kept them on the roster for 2 or 3 years, despite them not really becoming featured linemen in the rotation. We've kept some of these players in there. Well, now that the coaching and the scheme is there, they can really push on. I think you've got a really young O-line room that can see other people that were at their level previously cementing their place, and they'll get that belief that, okay, well, if I listen to these coaches, I can make that same leap. So I think there'll be belief and there'll be buy-in, and having an average age of 23 and a half, our O-line. It's like the youngest O-line in the league, and it's
Gary said one of the youngest O-lines in the league.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a huge thing.
Just a couple of comments here as well that came in from Rich. John Benton's coaching experience equals huge impact. Let's have a look. There was a few. Then Gary agreed it's coaching. Amy, who's in here as well. Hi, Amy. She agreed it's coaching. And then Richard, we've added 50 plus years of coaching experience, and it's helped massively. Oh, there we go. Josh Jones came in on the left.
Yeah.
And Bradford and Lucas stayed in. And finally, from Jonas, Grays Abel said that with the coaching of Justin Oughton, that they're quicker to get to the line for the snap.
Yeah, that's confidence.
Yeah, confidence in your coaching. When you're coached properly and it becomes second nature, the muscle memory kicks in, you're confident in what you're doing every single play, and it proves it. So usually we like to have a bit of a good, bad sandwich, but we've just gone through all the good. So should we go to the losers? I think we should. Nikos, you are the guest. Who was your loser for this game?
The first one has to be, of course, Jaden Daniels. First of all, he didn't have a good game when he was playing. 1 pick, 0 touchdowns, low completion rate, just a bad game overall from him. It wasn't, of course, his fault specifically, but it was a bad game for him. And then he got injured, a massive injury, his elbow.
Gruesome injury, yeah.
Out for sure. He will have to fix that. It's going to be hard to come back at at least it's not his throwing hand. If I'm not making him, yeah, it's not. It's not his.
It's his left hand. Yeah, it was left arm. A dislocation of the elbow, was it?
Yeah,
I think.
And everything else.
Yeah, it was gnarly to watch. It just was not nice. But yeah, even though we're Seahawks pod, you know, my heart goes out to Jaden Daniels for that, because he's such a promising young player. It just seems that if you get drafted by Washington, something bad's going to happen to you if you're a young QB, and it's such a horrible place to be. But yeah, Jaden Daniels, that's it. It's when we have these on the pod where it's like we don't really want to pick a loser, but it's not a loser as in like, haha, you're a loser, you're rubbish. It's more you're a loser due to the circumstance and what happened. Mitch, who was your loser?
Dan Quinn. I think Dan Quinn losing to getting beaten and battered and bruised by a Seahawks defense on primetime television is that's got to feel bad.
Kick to the nards.
Yeah, and it's the game where his franchise quarterback returned and then looks like he's also then out again for probably the year, you'd have to think. Not much went his way tonight. So yeah, Dan Quinn for me was someone who went in and came out with lower stock, honestly.
Yeah, and you know, now they've got to rely on the Oregon Ducks legend Marcus Mariota. So let's see how well that goes. Great in college, not so great in the NFL. Although he did score a TD that he passed to himself when he was at Tennessee. Just a little highlight there.
Bit of trivia for us there.
Yeah. My loser, and this was one that Nikos, I've stolen this from you because you reminded me of it. And then, it's like social media listens, the clip came up. Daron Payne, who said, and I quote, "I ain't paying him no attention," when referring to JSN. Well, you probably should have. This is I'm all for like smack talk and whatnot. When we were in London, I met an awesome guy who is a Commanders fan called Saquon, not Barkley, but he is a wide receiver for Kent Exiles. You can check out his clips on YouTube. One where he hurdles a guy from the Colchester Gladiators and makes him retire straight after that game is chef's kiss. But we were talking about the trash talk, and I said, look, I completely get it's part of the game, but when you're trash talking and you're like 3-5, maybe wait until you've got a winning record before you do it. I understand you've got to be, you know, a bit confident, a little bit cocky when you're a player, but for the love of God, make sure you're winning when you're doing it, because otherwise you end up with egg all over your face, and he has. And I'm pretty sure there's clips of JSN talking at him during the game.
Yeah. And you know what I like the most as well? The way he said that comment, it was like, I've got bigger things to think about than JSN, you know. Well, what were you thinking about? Because you didn't get any sacks and you didn't do an awful lot in the game, did you? What was it you were preparing for? Because if it wasn't JSN, you probably wanted to be your primary job, which you apparently just didn't do. So, yeah, well done, Mr. Payne.
And yeah, when me and Nikos were talking earlier, and he sent me his losers, because I was going to pick Daniels, but he took that one, so I was like, I'm taking Daron Payne, because that clip came back up, and I just laughed to myself and thought, that's the one, that's my loser. So, quick lesson: smack talk works when you're winning. Otherwise, you look like a mug. So, they were all winners and losers. Thank you to everyone who's commented, because I've tried to put as many of yours up there as possible. Now, one thing that we didn't prepare you for, Nikos, is, as we all know, the trade deadline hits tomorrow. So, with Mitch being the stats man, I sent him away and asked him for some information, because that's what I like, because that's how he feeds me. We're going to look at very quickly Seahawks cap room, players that we may move on from, what that could do to our cap, and who we could be looking at and how it may affect us. Mitch and I are going to go into in depth with sort of this and the cap in another pod, But Mitch, drop some stuff on us, and then Nikos and I will say who we think we could go after as trade targets.
Yeah, so the current cap availability stands at 21 million. I don't think we'd necessarily look to spend all of that because you do want to keep some cushion there, but call it 19 and a half. I think it's a pretty safe number. One of the interesting numbers is our amount of dead cap this year, and I know we can't do anything with that, but I think with how successful we've been this year and the amount of depth that we feel we have, it's also worth recognizing we've got $67 million worth of dead cap. So just imagine what 67 million would have looked like this year if it was in talent from free agency, etc. What I will say is that money next year that could have been with us this year, when we're going to look like contenders next year, we don't know how far we go this year, but reasonably we can expect to go, and win a few playoff games. We're going to look like a contender and have cap room next year. So the dead cap's worth considering. The cap space itself stands at around 19.5 to 20 million in actual cap. In terms of cut candidates, or well, not necessarily cut candidates, but players we could move off the roster without getting a good impact. Both Woolen and Mafe have very little in guarantees, so and money that would stay with us if in the event of a trade. So I know those are the two names that we expect to move before deadline day if anyone goes. But Woolen has $0 guaranteed, but a $5 million cap hit. So that's a big impact on the cap. And Mafe is 2.6 million cap hit, of which we will eat 600k. So so it's 80% of his cap hit saved if we can move off. There's other names in there. I think the biggest one in terms of not necessarily being a crucial player that frees up money is Nwosu. I think this year and next year he holds a big number, but he's been really key and he's such a good fit on what we're currently doing. I think he's better. I think he's a better fit now for this defense than he has been at any point in his Seahawks career. So looking fit, looking ready to play, looking a great fit for the scheme. I don't think you'd want to get rid of him. He's earning what he's being paid for.
He's earning Mafe's snaps. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So Mafe's kind of become an afterthought. I think this is where he would be sort of a top trade candidate for someone who needs a speedy edge rusher. I think that this has been put out on through all sorts of media that the top two that are going to be shopped are Mafe and Woolen. And I was actually impressed to see Woolen lay the boom yesterday on someone and then totally negate all of his good work by standing over him and taunting him, because that's an intelligent thing to do.
We spoke a lot about that in the Discord last night.
Yeah,
at the time.
And I'm not surprised. It brings more weight to the reasons why I'm not as big as fan. I understand. You make a good hit. We've all been there, play contact sport. You make a big hit, you're psyched up for it. But if standing over someone and mocking them to their face is going to get a penalty, why do it? You're a professional sportsman. You get paid to know these things. Just walk away. Although saying that, I will ask for justice for Rico Dowdle. It was 2 pumps and he still got flagged.
Yeah,
it's not the Hingle McCringleberry. Shocking.
2-pump gate has begun.
That's it. And I'm pretty sure there was another.
The world is outraged.
I know there was another player who only did 1 pump. I can't remember who it was. If anyone knows, put it in the comments, because I definitely saw someone else doing 1 pump. If we've got 19 million in cap space, let's just say, obviously, regardless of moving those two, Nikos, is there anyone you'd like to see us go after?
Maybe we will have to upgrade the right tackle position.
What, over Abe Lucas? Or do you mean right guard?
Sorry, right guard.
Oh, I nearly kicked you off the pod then. Right, yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, I don't think getting rid of Boye Mafe is a good idea. Because if we think about it smart, how old is Sedan Woshu? He's probably 30 plus.
I don't know if he's 30 yet, actually. I will confirm. Or someone in the
Already on it.
comments will, for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Boyamath is obviously younger.
He's 28. He's not even
Okay.
30.
Yeah.
Realistically, the edge rusher position is up to 32, 33. It's hard to see them going above 33 or 34. So I'm thinking it would be a good idea to keep Boyamath and not trade him for the future. Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I mean, we have been big advocates of Boye Mafe because, came from Minnesota. First season was underwhelming. Second season, he had that absolute tear. Was it 7 games in a row? Finished the season on 9 sacks. He looked like he was made for that step up. But then we drafted Derek Hall. And Derek Hall took over from what Mafe should have been doing. And Mafe just seems to... I don't think he's found where he fits in this rotation or how best to use his skill set, especially over the last 2 seasons. He seems to have been a bit lost. And don't get me wrong, like he's electric off the edge, but he's in very, very real danger of becoming a Darryl Taylor. And we've said that before, where all he is speed and bend and doesn't actually influence anything.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. But I don't really think there is any position we should upgrade or trade for.
Interesting.
Maybe only the right guard position. Tariq Woolen, I actually believe he will become great, as he was with the Texans. With the Texans, he played a great game.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe that he will eventually just become his rookie version and be as good as any other
cornerback in the league.
Corner that we have.
And Mitch and I are going to go, like I said, we're going to go into this on a separate podcast between the two of us that we'll put out in a week or two, where we've only got enough cap to pay certain players. Someone like Mafe could command middle of the road money, taking away cap from, someone else we might have to sign. Reek Woolen, dependent on how much he thinks of himself, could command that mid to upper tier if that's how he values himself. And I don't think we're going to pay him that. So do you try and keep hold of him for the rest of the season, hope we win a Super Bowl, and then go, thanks very much for your service, you're gone? Or do you keep him, we don't get there, which nobody wants, but then you've kept him and recouped nothing apart from what we might get a conditional pick back, or compensatory pick back? Or do you trade them both now, get draft capital for the upcoming draft and maybe beyond, and use that to keep building your squad? I agree with the right guard. I think right guard would be having someone else in there to battle with Bradford, not only to make him better, but potentially upgrade there. Yeah. But it's one of those that's up in the air. I mean, we've got some people. So Mitch put this in the comments. Quarterback, edge, and running back has some great scheme fits for us, though. And that's in answer to what is the best position in the draft next year or this year coming. We've got Jonas, who's just put linebacker. If Ernest is missing time, you have a huge hole there. Logan Wilson come in from Rich, I think Wilson's currently injured, isn't he? And then there's going to be more that'll filter in. I think, linebacker depth is coming in from Gary. Maxi has put a vet safety and a vet linebacker. There's so much to discuss about this, and we're going to see about it tomorrow. I think we're going to be looking at a DB, a linebacker, and offensive line for depth or to challenge the starter. They'd be the 3 positions, and I don't think it's going to be a blockbuster. I think it's going to be a steady vet in possibly all positions. Mitch?
Yeah, I think what John will do here will surprise people. I know that some of the NFL's beat reporters are saying the Seahawks are being really aggressive and they're making a lot of phone calls. And, well, let's face it, it's John Schneider. They may not even have any intel. They'll just know that John is doing that. And John will pull in a personality rather than a position. He'll be looking at leaders, veterans, scrappy players that just fight for the team, people who are tone setters. You look at the likes of Love, that he's brought in Love, he's brought in Leonard Williams, he's brought in Ernest Jones, Cooper Kupp. These are all high character guys that he's added in through free agency and through trades. I don't think we'll necessarily go, oh, there's a position that we can add. He'll go, who's available, who will make the biggest impact to this locker room on this charge towards a Super Bowl over the next couple of years. So I'm hesitant to isolate a position. I just think that kind of character is what we can expect.
Yeah, I agree. With that is the main part of this pod done. And as we are a Seahawks community podcast, by 12s, for 12s, with 12s, also the UK Seahawkers official podcast. Now, if you're not a UK Seahawker, you can join. It's £12 for individual membership, £20 for a family of up to 4 at the same address. If you're outside the UK, it's £5 for postage. Bosh. You get access to social events. You get 10% discount at the Seattle Pro Shop. You're eligible for game day field passes if you go to a game. You also get an annual selection of goodies. This year, we got our coasters, our wristbands, our 21-year anniversary patch, and your membership card. And those patches can be seen adorned many jerseys, or in my case, jackets. And you could join us and this lovely group at the next UK Seahawkers fan rally, which was brilliant. I'm going to shout that from the hills. Absolutely love meeting everyone there. And we got to meet a few of them again at Wembley, which is brilliant. So we have had some comments and questions come in. Before we sign off for the night, Mitch, would you like to pull any of them up? I think we've started a few, haven't we?
Yeah, let's do that. So we'll go right back to the beginning because there's a few actually, I'm not sure if we've already pulled some of these up because I've pulled some up and you've pulled some up. What to show here? I don't know if you put this up from Amy, actually. So we're the only team that is top 5 in DVOA in all 3 phases. I'll also mention, actually, I think I messaged you, Josh, earlier to say that, we were averaging 30% success rate on third downs on offense this year. Well, this last game, it felt like it. It felt like every time we were at third down, the answer was just chuck it to JSN for 15. We seemed to just do it repeatedly. But yeah, we completed 7 out of 11 third downs on offense. So there are some serious levels of execution creeping into our game on a consistent basis, and it feels like it. I don't know if we put this up from Jay. Did we put this up about Bobby earlier? I don't think we did.
Oh, we didn't.
Yeah, so an unlikely loser here was Bobby Wagner. Poor bro was overstretched and was always left confused when Darnold was passing. But we know that Bobby over the last 4 years, coverage has become a weak spot for him. We did an awful lot of chucking of the ball, and he wasn't really able to be effective assisting in coverage, was he? So we could have guessed that one was coming, but yeah, I do agree. What else we got? Oh, this is a cool one to throw up, actually. To anyone that didn't know, Drake Thomas didn't go to the locker room after the game. He went to the hospital to see Jaden Daniels. He made a comment on social media saying that, as soon as the game ends, he has everything in common with everyone he plays against in that game because they are just men enjoying the same game, and he didn't that pain after a game as a result of a tackle, even though it was a clean hit, he wanted to make sure he was okay first and foremost. He didn't want to enjoy anything in the locker room until he knew that Jaden Daniels was okay. And I think that was such a lovely vouch for his character.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great thing that Jonas has pulled up there. This on the same subject, that field is cursed for Washington QBs. There's an unfortunate history there.
There was an RG3's injury. It was the same yard line as what Jaden Daniels was as well. I've been digging up that bit of turf, burning it.
Just skip that yard. Just remove it.
Just
play with an 89-yard pitch. Yeah, love it. Yeah, and I think most of this. Oh, here we go. This was good. Two Pumps was never a good nickname.
could have been worse. It could have been like the other player I mentioned that had one pump. I will find out who that was, and I'll put it in our Discord. Speaking of which, if you haven't already yet, you can join our Discord. It is completely free. King of the Discord is here, and another member of our Discord is from the far side. Nikos is one of our newer members, and it allows you to talk to 12s from all over the world, and you can obviously invite your friends in if you know any other Seahawks fans. We have built a fantastic community there. I say we. Everyone who's a member of it has built that community, and it is such a pleasure to be a part of, from watch parties to just talking Hawks throughout the week to the build up to getting loads of grief and not waking up for primetime games, from the memes. The J Reed appreciation channel as well is one of my personal favorites. But you can join. The link is down below, and I'm pretty sure Mitch will pop it in the comments as well. Yeah. And I would just say as well, if you haven't already and you're new to this channel, please give us a like, subscribe, like this video. Really helps push us out to more 12s, and it means we can have more people come and join us, much like Nikos has all the way from Greece, as we got a nice little tour of his house there. Not that I'm jealous of a very sunny climate, and he messaged me the other day to say, oh, my signal's rubbish because I'm on a boat on the way to Mykonos.
Yeah.
And I was sat in my office in rainy Harwich in Essex. So give us a like, give us a subscribe.
You can visit anytime.
As long as you don't mind a little 5-year-old running around as well. But yeah, it's been absolutely awesome having you on, Nikos. If you've got anything you want to say to the 12s that are watching before we sign off, we would love to hear it.
All I want to say is that being a Seahawks fan is so great. The experiences, the games, and that's it basically. I don't have anything else to say. I think this year we will go to the Super Bowl. Hot take, but I truly believe in this team. I haven't watched a team like this in 6, 7, 8 years back to the Legion of Boom days, to our Super Bowl days.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Before we go, it's just up on there, that QR code. If you want to find us on any of our socials, you can. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky as well, if people still use that. You can find us on pretty much every audio platform, and obviously YouTube that you're watching on now. And let's say a massive thank you for tuning in. And Nikos, as you may be aware, I'm determined to get this right. We finish every pod with a Go Hawks. I'm going to count us down from 3. And if we can all say it in unison, you'll make me a very, very happy man. But I want to say a massive thank you from me, from Mitch, from Nikos, to everyone for joining in, getting in the comments. Share this video, invite your friends to be part of the community. We absolutely love it. And we'll be back to review the Arizona Cardinals game with a gentleman from Hawk Talk, Dave DeRoches and Walter Thurman III. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be a fantastic one. But gentlemen, if you're ready, say it with me. Counting down from 3. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.